Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another major update for Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, and today we have a dark truth revealed to us by Boruto's illustrator Mikio Ikemoto as a part of the 9th anniversary inclusion into the new V-Jump magazine issue where the manga is being published. Boruto becoming a rogue ninja has set up a rather heartbreaking situation that will change how you view the story moving forward. Now, obviously, the chapter review is up on the channel, so please make sure to check that out if you haven't seen it already. And I'm going to give a trigger warning right now. Like, I trolled on this thumbnail, but the trigger warning for this video is going to come from the fact that there's a lot of outrage right now because people are feeling like Ikemoto has dragged Himawari's character. He's done her dirty. People are jumping on Shikamaru. People are outraged, and if you can't tell from my voice, I'm annoyed because of the fact that this is undue slander that is going for Ikemoto, and I am going to clear up some of the misconceptions that have come out from this Q&A. So share this. With that being said, let's jump into today's video. So why is Himawari Uzumaki, a 13-year-old girl, living alone in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex? The answer may surprise you because it wasn't forced upon her. According to the series illustrator Mikio Ikemoto, this was entirely Himawari's choice, and today we're going to break down the real reason she lives alone, what it says about her character, and why this isn't as crazy as some people are saying online right now and in the greater community at large, because there's a huge part of Japanese culture that you have to understand in order to, you guessed it, understand what a Japanese man is writing with a Japanese manga that is targeted for a Japanese audience that we as Western fans are not going to catch because we are not Japanese. So let's first look at Ikemoto's revelation. So Ikemoto, in an official comment that was part of the 9th anniversary for Boruto's manga serialization, he stated, quote, "At her own request, she lives alone at the Uzumaki residence, doing all the household chores. Himawari feels that her parents will return someday, so she tries to protect the place," end quote. That one sentence gives us a very powerful insight into Himawari's emotional world. Despite losing her parents to Kawaki's Daikokuden Jutsu and living in a world full of chaos where she believes that Kawaki's her brother, Boruto is the outsider, Boruto killed her family, Himawari refuses to abandon her home, the last physical space that she has connected to Naruto and Hinata. It's not just nostalgia, it is a quiet resilience. It is her way of holding on to hope. This is where we have to now go into the Japanese culture context, because that whole bit of information probably triggered you, and you're probably blaming the Hyuga and Shikamaru. I'm even gonna meme Shikamaru on the thumbnail, but let's redirect some of that energy to where you need to focus it at. For many Western viewers, the idea of a 13-year-old girl living alone might feel completely outrageous. But once you understand Japanese cultural norms, the situation becomes much more understandable. So in Japan, children are taught independence very early on, much earlier than how we're taught here in the West. It's not uncommon to see first graders walk into school alone, riding public transit or shopping for groceries. Chores like cooking and doing laundry, cleaning, they're considered to be essential life skills that are taught at an early age. A first grader is 6 years old. In some cases, middle schoolers and high school students, they live alone in apartments, especially if they've been accepted into better schools that are far away from home. Unlike in the US, Japanese public schools are not zoned by district per se. They're often chosen based on academic merit, which comes in the form of entrance exams. You've probably seen numerous anime where characters are studying like crazy to get into a school. This is why. That means that a child might need to live apart from their parents just to attend the right school. So the image of Himawari cooking and cleaning and taking care of herself in the Uzumaki home is not abnormal in Japan, even if it feels a bit dramatic by Western standards. And as Western fans, we're obviously going to see something like this and try to compare it to our own lived experience. But when you consume content from overseas, you have to remember that you can't view it through an Americentric lens, a Eurocentric lens, which basically means viewing it from the perspective of someone that's American or European, that all cultures have to revolve around how we see things. That's not the case. That's not how the world works. And unfortunately, soapbox moment, but unfortunately, as a Western society, the thing that I've seen in really the last decade is we've gotten further and further away from kind of understanding that. The whole point in consuming media from other countries and etc. is to get a glimpse into other cultures, different forms of comedy, different forms of drama and etc., different perspectives on what the human experience is through the eyes of another culture. That's the reason why you consume different things, and that's one of the things I've always enjoyed about anime, is you get to see things from a different perspective. But the thing I've kind of noticed just in my anecdotal experience is there's a growing number of fans and just people in general where they look at it and they say, this is how it is in America, this is how it is in my country, my culture, etc. So this is how it should be. And they refuse to accept that it could be different somewhere else. And that's closed-minded thinking. Soapbox moment over. Remember, this is also a ninja world. A 13-year-old with training and discipline and heritage from both the Hyuga and Uzumaki clans is far more capable than your average teenager. Think about it for a second. This is a world where children younger than Himawari historically have been sent out onto the battlefield, used as child soldiers, but we draw the line and oh my god, Himawari is taking care of herself and living alone. How dare Shikamaru do this? He's the worst Hokage ever. How can you come to that conclusion based on this fictional world? Ignore the real world implications. Just in universe, that's a crazy thing to draw a line at. Now, in terms of where the Hyuga clan is and why they're choosing to respect her wishes, think about this for a second. So if you're wondering why hasn't the Hyuga clan taken her in, wouldn't they see it as her duty, given that she's Hinata's daughter? It's important to remember how the Hyuga clan functions. So this is a deeply hierarchical and traditional clan. But in tradition in Japanese culture, it also involves a strong sense of respect for individual resolve, especially when it's based in loyalty, duty, and honor. Himawari has a wish to protect the Uzumaki family home. That's not some childish rebellion. That's not delusion. It's a spiritual commitment she's made. Her actions, they mirror traditional Japanese ideals known as giri, which is a sense of duty, especially to family. To forcibly remove her would dishonor both her choice and the emotional bond that she is preserving. The Hyuga clan, particularly Hiyashi or Hanabi, would see this as an honorable burden that she is choosing to carry, and thus they would respect it. And it should be worth noting the Hyuga clan, when you really sit down and look at how the clan is written, they are steeped very richly in traditional Japanese lore. When you really dig down into Japanese culture, you can truly appreciate why the Hyuga are written the way that they are. So look at it from this perspective. To Himawari, to the Uzumaki, to people in universe, that home of Naruto Uzumaki, it is sacred. And the daughter who chooses to guard it becomes more like a shrine maiden when you think about it, which again, Naruto and Boruto are deeply rooted in Shintoism as well. She is quietly watching over the past, waiting for the day that her family finally returns. That's why those of you guys who have watched the rebranded Naruto videos that drop at the first half of each month, you've noticed that after I go through like the typical explained stuff for the topics, I dive deeper into the Japanese cultural stuff, because understanding the cultural aspects of the series makes you view everything that you're consuming in a different light. That way you don't jump the gun like the people did on this topic. The other thing you have to look at is this is not like Naruto's orphanhood. And this is like people, again, I'm gonna meme it on the thumbnail, Shikamaru giving Himawari money saying, hey fam, this is your budget, don't blow it. But this is not the same thing. Think about Naruto alone as a child, eating instant ramen, being avoided by the villagers, getting masks thrown in his face. But again, this is not the same thing as Naruto being an orphan. Naruto lived alone because he was shunned. The village, they feared the Nine Tails sealed inside of him. Nobody, for the most part, reached out. He had no real support system. Hiruzen gave him the money, looked out from a distance, but for the most part, Naruto had to figure out on his own, and he made the bonds over time. Which, interestingly enough, when you look at it, Naruto's about what age when Hiruzen's doing that stuff? 5, 6 years old, the age of a first grader. It was expected, hey, you should know how to do basic stuff, know how to take care of yourself. We all know how that ended for Naruto, but now you see why Hiruzen took that approach. Even with that, again, this is not the same thing as what's going on with Himawari. Fundamentally, it is different. His loneliness was not a choice. It was enforced by a stigma and fear. Himawari, on the other hand, is surrounded by people who love her. They support her. They respect her. She's not living alone because she has no one. She's living alone because she believes that her parents will ultimately return, and she wants to keep their home safe in their absence. It's the difference between abandonment and resolve and devotion. Naruto's solitude was forced. Himawari's was chosen. This gets even deeper when you take another look at this with the Kawaki situation, Ada in confinement, because you might be going, hey, everyone thinks that Kawaki's Himawari's brother, so wouldn't Kawaki be there to take care of her? So we can contrast Himawari's freedom to Kawaki's situation. Kawaki lives under watch, confined with Ada and Damon. It's not a home. It's basically a political prison disguised as a living arrangement. He doesn't have the freedom Himawari does, even though his house is more crowded. And it should be worth noting, when you go back to when Shikamaru gave this mission to everyone before omnipotence, he told Kawaki, hey, I need you to rizz up Ada. So in Shikamaru's mind and everyone else's mind, he told that to Boruto. But in the same breath, he also told Boruto, who now everyone believes is Kawaki, if anything goes wrong, you need to be the one who wins Ada's affection. So in everyone's mind, they're going, hey, Boruto went off crazy. Ada's not interested in him anymore. So now she's going after Kawaki, even though we as the audience know nothing really changed. Ada was always into Kawaki. Again, omnipotence has flipped everyone's mind. So this contrast, it is intentional. Himawari chooses to live at home and live alone out of faith in her family. Kawaki, ironically, is surrounded by others, but he lives in paranoia and isolation, trapped by the consequences of his actions by sealing Naruto away, framing Boruto for Naruto's murder, and because Kawaki knows everything that people are giving him in terms of energy is what they would normally give to Boruto, because Kawaki and Boruto have swapped places. It's a powerful reminder of how solitude can either be noble or it can be tragic, depending on how it's framed, pun intended, because Kawaki did frame Boruto. In conclusion, Himawari Uzumaki is one of the most emotionally grounded characters in Two Blue Vortex now that we have this new information. She isn't just living alone, she's also written as someone who is carrying a legacy. In her quiet, determined way, she's preserving the heart of the Uzumaki family, waiting for the moment that her parents return, waiting for the moment that the brother she believes is innocent of what people are saying, that brother being Boruto, who she believes is an adopted brother, but is in reality her real brother. She believes that they will all return home. She's refusing to let those memories fade. Understanding this decision, respecting it, it requires us as viewers to step outside our own cultural assumptions. Again, manga, after all, is rooted in Japanese values, not Western values. That is always important to remember when consuming manga. And when we look at Himawari's situation through that lens, we should not see a lonely girl. Instead, we should see a warrior in the heart. We should see a shrine maiden. So when you think about Himawari in the Uzumaki kitchen, cooking a quiet dinner, having a photo of her family in the background, don't think of her crying. Think about her strength. This has been a look at Himawari's solitude life in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, given to us by the illustrator. I think this was very much needed. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and obviously don't forget to subscribe for more Naruto and Boruto videos, where obviously if it's lore based, I'm gonna dive into the culture like I did with this video.